Now, starting with my colleagues on stage here, we are going to start with the Sage expert, so Edward Sweeney. He is the director of pre-sales and retention for. Sorry, I promise I've done this before and I can talk. I need some more notes to help me talk. All right.
I'm impressed with that title.
So, the Sage expert. I think that should be the title. There we go. All right. Pre-sales and retention accounting for Africa and the Middle East at Sage. He is an expert in cloud adoption and digital transformation. Please welcome Edward Sweeney.
Good afternoon.
So Edward will be driving the conversation today. Along with him, we've got Netesh Maharajh. There we go. And I put in brackets in my notes here, the tech integrator, this talking thing. All right, the tech integrator. Right, so he's the director of ALNET Technologies. His focus is on delivering modern integrated technology solutions that optimize business processes for efficiency and insight. So warm welcome to you, Netesh. Thank you for joining us. All right. Next up, we have the operations leader and somebody with the best surname I have ever seen. So Wessel Coetzee. There we go. So Wessel is a qualified chartered accountant and the joint managing director of operations at SynergERP. He specializes in implementing strategic ERP solutions to align business operations with finance. Please welcome Wessel Coetzee. There we go. All right. Sure, these titles, guys. There's a lot of things you do. All right. Okay, and then last but not least, we have the CEO, Cole Harris, right? So, Chief Executive Officer of Signature Business Solutions, a company dedicated to maximizing value through enterprise resource planning. Please welcome Cole Harris. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, over to you. Before it's over to you, quick admin points. There will be a barcode coming up onto the screen, which you can scan in your app. And you can throw some questions to the panel. We did have a conversation beforehand. We want very difficult questions and curveballs. Okay. And so, let's work together. I'll be watching and monitoring the questions. And so maybe if there's time towards the end, we can try some of those. All right. Over to you.
Thank you, Chris. I think we've got a presentation to play.
Oh, you've got to talk from the...
I heard that as
presentation.
Oh, do we have a... We don't have it?
We don't.
We don't? All right.
We need an AI now to assist us through this if we can.
Yeah.
So this is how we're really going to show how AI works. You're going to... Just jump into the first question.
Yeah.
So AI is going to become HI, human intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the curveball here is that we're going to learn that Edward isn't in fact human. He is actually AI. He is the first AI generated.
Yeah.
Okay.
The software is glitched. All right. So we had a brilliant presentation. It would have knocked you off your feet, guys. I think basically it's about benefits of cloud computing. Typically, we use the term native cloud. What does that mean? It means that everything is hosted for you in the cloud. So your application, security, backups, everything else is done in the cloud. And the whole presentation was about, what are the thoughts of today's CFOs of, adoption of artificial intelligence. I think, and thereafter we are going to do a little panel discussion, just very... I think quickly, in our world, AI is not Chat GPT. So if you think this is about Chat GPT, it's not. AI has been with us in accounting for many years. We used to call it machine learning, and then somebody woke up and said, let's call it AI. And now it's very cool and very hype, and somebody's making oodles of money off it. However, machine learning has been with us for a very long time. Moving on to generative AI, we're obviously looking at growing models, models learning, and then models starting predicting the future. And I think that's the main difference between machine learning, which is focused around automation, and generative AI, which is looking at creating new content, looking forward, creating that new content based not just on the data models, but how it interprets the data models. Machine learning, very much important part of cloud computing. We're looking at automation of processes, bank reconciliations, accounts payable, forecasting, stock replenishment, all of those kind of things happens because of machine learning. I think then lastly, before I move over to the panel discussion, is AI will be adopted if our audience trusts AI. And I think there's a lot of fear-mongering going on because of what's happening. We all watch the TikTok reel about guys committing suicide because ChatGPT tells you to do that. I know Carl will not commit suicide even if the bottom line doesn't. But in the long run, I think we all understand that technology is accelerated at a very fast pace. AI is going to be with us, and what we make of it, that's going to take us forward. Guys, you got to forgive me. I'm going to read from my phone. You'll see that I've got glasses and a very long arm to try and figure out what's standing here. Anyway, so introducing Carl. I think Chris introduced Carl earlier. Carl has joined as a Sage business partner a while ago, being very successful. Sage, and specifically Intact, is part of his business now. A small part, growing fast, which is great. So Carl, first question to you is, to kick things off, how would you define best practice when it comes to AI in accounting?
Thanks very much, Eddie. I think, first of all, maybe just some context, or maybe if we go back, I mean, we're in this age of AI, I think, where we're almost in an AI revolution, or it feels like that to me at the moment. If you look at, I think it's Apple, like Apple hit $1 trillion market cap a while back ago, and everyone was jumping up and down. And if you look at Nvidia today, it's sitting at like a $4.5 trillion US dollar market cap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I think those are just showing you what the focus of the world is today and how important AI is. And I think if you're not in AI, you're really going to be left behind. So it's crucial to be in that space, to realize the importance of it and where we're going as a world. But maybe to answer that the opposite way around, it supposedly is what AI is not. I don't know, we see these science fiction movies, or I don't know, I've watched them, I don't know, maybe I'm too old, with Terminator and all this, and the AI comes in, takes over, realizes the human beings are doing it all wrong, messing it up, basically, reversing everything you're doing and saying it can do it better, and kind of kills us all off as people. So don't worry, accountants, that's not going to happen to you for AI. It's not here to kill you all, to take you all out, and to tell you what to do. So I think for me as an accountant, that's probably an important thing. You don't want AI reversing journals you've posted. You don't want it having certain intelligence that it wants to start making certain decisions on its own. I think that's more a definition of what maybe you don't want AI to do. I think in our world, we've been working for a signature. We've been working 20 years in automation. We've been working with AI and automation of processes for the last 20 years. And I think that, especially where we sit now, I see that more as the adoption of AI to get rid of mundane tasks. So things that previously were mundane, to now have a computer to do that for you. So where you were spending your time doing a lot of repetitive tasks, because I think in accounting, let's be honest, it is a bit of a repetitive thing. Month ends, every week you're processing the same transactions. And when we say mundane, I think that doesn't just mean simplicity or simple tasks that you're repeating. Because if you look at mundane, you can have complex mundane things that you're doing and I think that's where, like, Sage Intacct, with some of the abilities within the product that can actually automate complex processes that you are doing on a monthly basis. So calculations and certain things within the product that really is sophisticated and quite good. When we talk about best of practices, that's what I would see. One element is that the best of practices is to use computers to do things that we are mundanely doing and to utilize it to do that. I think for me as well personally, maybe it goes against what you just said, but the ChatGPT and the Copilot, I would say what is a best practice? Best practice is probably traditionally in the olden or now, where you go to the if statements or you go to certain things and you figure out what is the best practice. You're either gaining that from information that's you obtaining from books and things, or you're obtaining it from experience. So you've been in the market, you've done these things, and you've learned the best practice. But if you look at Copilot and ChatGPT and these things, for me, best of practice also is to utilize these tools. That they are basically big libraries. Previously, you'd have to go to the statements, you'd have to read through it. I know myself, I had a complex issue in one of the accounting things on Intacct. I was trying to figure it out, couldn't really figure it out, and I thought, okay, go into Copilot, ChatGPT, and the power of getting best of practice, meaning it's collating all the most powerful things, and all the sources it's using is to collate that information. And give you the best of practice. It's giving you ways that the market is currently doing it, the way things are happening in the market. So I think that for me probably sums up a little bit more about what best of practice is. And I think if the software that you're utilizing doesn't have these kind of AI built into it, to your point, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And those are the two areas for me. It's using it to find the best of practice in the way of doing things, and then to do those mundane, simple and complex tasks to give the accountants and free them up to utilize their time in other areas.
Yeah. So if I may ask the audience by show of hands, anyone, if you've been exposed to Sage products before? Yeah. And typically, by show of hands, is that Pastel? Yeah. Evolution? Yeah. Intacct? Okay. Oh, we've got you're from Sage. A colleague there in the background. I'm glad you've heard of Intacct. So yeah, Chris, you're the only guy actually knowing Intacct. I want to invite you guys afterwards to go have a look at what we're showing there. Intacct is our flagship product. Very much, it's a product that was built about 20 odd years ago in the US. What do we say? Build in the cloud, for the cloud, something like that. Native cloud, yeah. So it's very powerful software. The stuff that Carl's mentioning, you'll find there. So it's like Pastel but on steroids and in the cloud. So it's brilliant. I've got a question from Netesh. Just a little bit of background. Netesh has been with Sage for many years, and then he became for many years a Sage business partner, originally focusing a lot of Sage evolution, and nowadays still doing a bit of evolution, but really growing his business on Sage Intacct. And as Carl, these partners are the experts on our products. So Netesh, quite an interesting question for you, and this is with regard to Intacct. So how are the AI capabilities embedded within Intacct transforming traditional accounting and financial reporting processes? And do you think there are any tangible benefits to that?
Thanks, Eddie. Much appreciated. And thanks for having us on here. It is an interesting question. I must say, I think if you look at from a Sage Intacct perspective, being native cloud, like we'll be saying, born in the cloud, first line of code, and so on. I think what it's doing is how is it adopting artificial intelligence and machine learning into its core platform. And I think that's where Intacct is actually going into. think with the introduction of Copilot, Sage Copilot coming into play, I think that's just going to leverage even more of it, on that platform. But I think ultimately it's embedding AI directly into the platform to try and automate as much as possible. Repetitive tasks, Carl, you mentioned about that. I think it's all about that. And I think with the introduction of AI, it's going to enhance accuracy. And that's ultimately where it's going to be. From a Sage Intacct perspective, just to talk about maybe some of the key features where AI is embedded into, or a lot of automation has been focused a lot, is something called a GL outliner. That's going to really improve accuracy and also I think prevent fraud detection. Things like so the GL outliner detection is basically a unique feature that identifies what you call irregular transactions being processed into the system, and it creates this alert, to the users, for early fraud detection, things like that. Then you got things like your smart rules and matching on your bank reconciliations. Those are things like, they basically automated transactions that that just help your typical finance users, reduce the close time at the end of the day. But something that really stands out in Sage Intacct is that, I think you did touch base on it, is the AP side.
Yeah.
The document processing side. So it's something called AP automation, and I think this really helps the users, especially from an AP perspective, supply invoices and so on, where it actually drastically reduces time spent on capturing, because this AP automation has the functionality of OCR, which is the optical character recognition, and it scans your invoices and it goes and creates, the invoices for you. And the great thing about it is that when you set up your different rules and workflows embedded within the system, it just follows those workflows, for the approval process. I think that's typically, where a lot of savings could actually take place. There's also things like intelligent time that integrates with your Outlook 365, your calendars, and it helps you streamline your time entries at the end of the day. Tangible benefits, definitely, I would say, so I just made some notes here, things that I want to make mention, I just don't want to forget it. Time saving.
Yeah.
I think time saving and operational efficiency, where we've seen, with Sage Intacct clients specifically, saving up to 80% on time reduction, based on manual time processing. For recons, data entry, as well as reporting, because you have those information in the system, you can report on them adequately. Enhanced accuracy and compliance. So with AI comes minimization of human error, at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about, supporting good audit trails, good governance, and that's what it is. Faster month-end close, because you embedded AI into the platform. It's automating a lot of rules, a lot of functionality for workflows, segregation of duties, and that's ultimately, at the end of the day, faster close of your month-end. Other business insights, things like your dashboards, reporting. I think one of the fundamental key features in Sage Intacct is your Intacct dashboards and reporting, having information in real time at your fingertips. I think those are some of the tangible benefits, because what it's ultimately doing for CFOs specifically, or finance teams, it's taking the finance teams out of the back office and bringing them forward to become more finance leaders.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah. I think for me the most valuable is the time. I think COVID came and we all became this whole digital economy. And the problem with COVID is, you became available 24/7, right? So that work-life balance shifted away. And what something like Intacct can get back for you is a little bit of time that you need. Because you don't have to sit and spend hours on bank recons or whatever it is you have to do. So yeah, great one that. Then Wessel. So Wessel has a very interesting title. He's the joint MD at SynergERP. So I thought I was the joint MD in my marriage, but my wife said no, she's the CEO. There's no such thing as a joint MD. So Wessel, fortunately I've met his work wife, really a lovely person. So, Wessel, just very quickly on Synergy, it's been one of the longest serving partners at Sage. Really a big partner when it comes to X3, Sage 300, and then obviously also doing really well for us on Intact. By the way, you'll see that I've mentioned products like X3, Sage 300. Those are typically ERP type products that deals with both financials as well as operations. Intact's very much focused on financials, and then obviously we've got what we call best of breed marketplace solutions that you can join to handle your operation with you. So Wessel, question for you: if Intact can effectively automate finance departments, what implications does this hold for accounting firms in terms of service delivery and client engagement?
Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it, and thank you very much, everybody. It's awesome to be here at this inaugural summit. It's funny about the title you mentioned. Tia and I called mom and dad in the company, but we're not married at all. We've got our own husbands and wives. But it's a very interesting question that you ask. I mean, it's amazing the technology that's there can already automate pretty much everything, right? Like, technology is not lagging behind there. But for me, the first thing as an accounting firm, I'd say traditionally, I mean, clients would probably send you a box full of invoices, you have to capture all that data, and then you start doing the books for them, right? Now systems have replaced that, and it can automate that. But I don't say the first thing is just make sure that's working properly, right? As much as the technology is there to automate everything, make sure that's really what's happening. They could have... Oh.
30 seconds. We're just seeing if we can resolve that.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was such a brilliant opening, huh? Yes, and then we had to miss that.
That was such a moment there that we, you know.
Yeah.
Just put your foot down and say, I've said myself. Your fault if you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost you at mom and dad.
Oh dear.
No. Can't hear you.
Gonna get a mic.
Hello.
There's one person on the mic.
Who's on the mic? Who can you hear? Can anyone hear?
I can hear you.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can carry on talking. All right.
Yeah.
So at least I've got to now fill up the gap or whatever, and while my colleague is busy refreshing.
Yeah. So we can maybe jump to you, and then we can get back to you if that's fine, Wessel. Yes. Okay. So Carl, I think. As I said earlier, you know, Carl and his team have done quite a substantial number of Intact implementations. So the question is coming there, is that what are some commonly overlooked pain points in accounting and finance that Intact effectively addresses, and can you share some real-life examples?
Certainly. Look, I think a lot of things, as mentioned, the reports are quite something that's revolutionized a lot of our clients and how they report around it. I think me personally, also we run operations in London, Australia, across Africa, and one of the biggest impacts I can say for myself personally using Intact was probably like the consolidation function. That was something that really kind of blew me away, because the ability to get consolidated numbers, not just for your financials, but actual consolidated reporting. So, you know, kind of currency conversion, getting in, choosing a currency that you want it in. So I think that has been a big benefit for me and a lot of the clients we've implemented. A lot of clients have tools sitting on top of their ledgers to assist them with consolidations, intercompany transactions, and on Intact that's pretty much seamless. It all gets done very well, and it's made a very big impact on that. And obviously feeding into that consolidations is, as mentioned, was the reporting. So, you know, the reporting is no good if you don't have the right data to report on. So the consolidation allowing you to do that is quite sophisticated. See, my son is calling me, my wife is calling me. So that made a big impact on us. And I think also, I don't know, this may not sound, I shouldn't say this as I'm an accountant, but I know in my business we're able to do income statements or reporting across entities, legal entities. And I found that a bit of a mind shift change, whether it's expenses or income that are similar in different things. So we could run income statements diagonally, which is not something I've ever really kind of had the ability in any other accounting system to do. So I think that the reason why you're able to do those is because of the dimensions or the things in it. So again, it's your data that's going to feed up to those reports. The reports are not really valuable without the data being able to be managed properly. And what Intact does is it manages that data, so the consolidation, the dimensions. I think the dimensions, I had a case now in my company where we wanted to add on dimensions, and I was a little stressed because I understood the dimensions. Took me a while to get used to that principle. And I was weary when we're adding a dimension in the middle of it, and it was quite nice to see how it flowed and how the reporting worked on those dimensions. So the consolidating, the reports, the dimensions, I think we could probably spend half an hour discussing dimensions. It can be quite complex, but maybe lastly, from my side and a lot of the clients, or something that's maybe a bit technical but really added a lot to my business and some of the clients, is one of the modules in Sage Intact, which is the contracts modules. So a lot of our revenue is kind of recurring revenue. It's invoices that we are doing on a monthly basis, and we enter into contracts. It might be 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And previously on our previous system, it was quite a mundane process to continuously do those every month. On Intact, the last month now, I think it was on the 25th of the month, so a week before month end, we already had all of our contractual billings that were, presented to me to say these are what we're billing at the end of the month. And again, we may on our previous system missed a few of the increments we should have. So when the contract came to the end, we missed a few of them. Now on Intact, it's prompting you, giving you those ability to put in the increases. So that contracts module is something that I found quite fascinating. A lot of clients, the value in that is quite amazing. It also does deferred revenue. So in those contracts, it's nice to see your actual revenue. So when you enter into a contract and you're only in month 1 and it's a 12 month, it can give you the 11 months in the balance sheet. And I found that quite nice to just be able to have that insight and see your future revenue from a contractual perspective. So I think there's a lot of things in Intact that I found of revolutionary and added value to the clients. I think these are just some of the main features that we've taken away from a lot of clients that's really revolutionized or replaced other systems and saved them money, created more efficiency, like you're mentioning that mundane, or we're talking about those processes. It would take people sometimes 2 weeks after month end to do those consolidations. Now you press a button, it's done within minutes, which I don't think many companies, even realize that the technology's out there to do it. So that's a couple of things from my side.
You'll love it. I think also, the value when it comes to, doing income tax returns.
Yes.
With all of this automation already having done that for you, spend so much more time being accurate and not leaving money on the wrong table. Wessel, hello.
I'll try again. And
you're back.
Sit still.
So just for everybody to recap, Wessel, the question was, if Intact can effectively automate finance departments, what implications does this hold for accounting firms in terms of service delivery and client engagement?
Okay, I'll try the short and sweetened version. But traditionally I think accounting firms did a lot of data capturing, right? And now systems are doing that, but we still need to make sure that the data is coming in correctly and accurately. So you need to make sure that these disparate systems that's being used still brings in all the information correctly into your financial system or your ERP. Otherwise, you'll still find customers doing manual data capturing, wasting time and not really getting the benefit of this automation, right? Like Carl said in the beginning as well, these mundane repetitive tasks are now away, but we still need to make sure that it's still accurate. That's still a big part of being an accountant, right? And then the second part for me, which Netesh kind of mentioned, the CEO this morning of SAICA also mentioned, and the name of the summit, is really now driving insight, right? We're moving away from just being accounting firms that are data capturers, but clients are depending on us to analyze their data, understand it, and give them insights, right? Intact has some really great reporting functionality, dashboard functionality, that you can really get some great insights from all this data that's now sitting in all these systems. So use that, understand the data, and deliver these insights to clients, and I think you're going to add a lot more value than we traditionally did. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, I think, I always said, you study for, how long does it take to become a chartered accountant,
7 years.
For some 7, for some 17, but but you study for 7 years and then your first job is to do a bank recon, brilliant. I think, that is the value that automation, as Wessel's mentioned, brings to you, is that you truly getting to do your job for what you've been trained. You get into experience on adding real value to the company, not just doing those mundane tasks, wasting your time, getting bogged down with getting into a rut, rather than. And then the other thing that's important for me is that where you're going to be still very valuable is what we call common sense. So you take time for AI calls, Chat GPT, to actually have common sense. It's brilliant if the bot tells you you're going to make 100 million profit this year.
I wish.
But yeah, there's got to be some common sense behind it as well, and that's the value that you guys are going to have. You're going to have the time spent, the intuition, which is still lacking from AI. But what the AI gives you is the opportunity to actually use your vocational skills to the best of his ability, rather than spending time on mundane tasks. Netesh, we're back to you. So I mentioned that Carl and his team has done quite a number of Intact implementations. I think Netesh has actually done basically the most, and I think you did the first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first Intact implementation. In South Africa, not 20 years ago, because then he was still at school. That would have been a bit of a mess.
Thanks.
So Netesh, during Sage Intact implementations, what unexpected financial or operational gaps are often revealed, and how can accounting firms turn these insights into opportunities to deepen client trust and support and growth?
That's a good one, though. But I think if you look at from a Sage Intact implementation, this touches one of the most valuable points on any Sage Intact implementation, because what we've noticed is that moving over to native cloud platforms, from legacy systems, it actually exposes a lot of inefficiencies in a business. A lot. Weakness and controls, things like a lot of blind spots that were actually hidden in legacy systems, and it was just not visible. And what happened to clients is that they just accepted it, and they thought this is the way, and that's basically the way, and they just carried on with life at the end of the day. But I think the other, I got some points here. Some of the common financial gaps that we've seen is obviously from a data integrity perspective, where inconsistent chart of accounts, duplication of supplier accounts, customer accounts, duplication of even stock items if you're getting into inventory management side of things. And a lot of the time we look at the historical data side of things, notice that you've actually got inconsistent historical data. And what happens with financial legacy systems or finance systems, from a balance sheet perspective, it just rolls over, and it creates this one massive monster. And you just sit with that and you assume that it's correct, but in actual fact, it's incorrect. That doesn't depict the true value, and that's the impact. Another operational gap that we find is process inefficiencies, not having the right delegation of authority, not having the right approval hierarchies in place, because at the end of the day, what we've seen is that there's disconnection or disconnect workflows amongst the various entities or maybe the departments within the organization, and that creates complete disparate, there's no transparency at all. Internal weakness and controls, I did make mention of that, where you have these missing approval hierarchies, not having the right approval workflows in place, and things like that. Reporting, another major aspect, not having visibility on the right reports. Now that with Sage Intacct, you've got real-time data at your fingertips. You're actually sitting there, or we've seen this actually, where the CFO or the finance controllers are actually, or decision makers, actually sitting there having this information at the fingertips. Now what do? We never had this before. So I mean, this is real life scenario, because normally we'll just ask the finance manager or the CFO, this is what I need. 2 weeks later, they get the report. Now you've got information at your fingertips, and now what do? Make the decision. Become forward drivers in your business at the end of the day. I think from a compliance and budgeting, compliance and governance perspective, it completely lacked. There were significant findings. Those are just some of the operational gaps. How do accounting firms turn this into opportunities? I think this is one of the strategic main focus points for bookkeepers, financial accountants and CFOs to bring to the table here, because at the end of the day, you have to bring in business process reengineering, because I think if you bring this business process reengineering, you're actually guiding your clients, or you're guiding the business in using your role, to obviously drive this, into the organization, redesigning workflows, things like how do we use automation in the correct way of doing it, because I'm sure you must have heard of things like ethical AI. It's also important, because AI could be a very disparate thing. You could use AI in two different ways. Ethical AI is one of the most profound way of actually using it. Yes, there's ChatGPT. We've got other platforms like Claude. You've got Microsoft Copilot. Now Sage is coming with their Copilot. Using it in the proper manner, I think that's really important. From a governance perspective, I think policy modernization, introducing that to your clients or into the business using modern techniques with incorporation of AI. I think that's also very important. And I think the governance, which what I mentioned, is bringing in those guidelines. How do we standardize chart of accounts? Things like that, because that's the heart and foundation of any business, especially from a finance role. Standardize chart of accounts. Don't make it complicated. Make it simple, yet so that you can report on it accurately at the end of the day. And I think introducing different KPIs, consolidations, on how you can best use and leverage of the the AI in financial management systems such as like Sage Intacct, and so on. But you as finance leaders in your industry, it's really up to you to bring in the AI and manage the adoption with your clients or business and help those users embrace it. Because if they don't embrace it, you're going to lose out, and you're just going to make your workload so much more complex, and so on. Yeah, but I think that that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Netesh. I think it's quite a good thing the presentation bombed out, because we're almost done for time here. So I'm gonna ask Cole this one. Cole, I think one of the big benefits of cloud native and Intacct is scalability. So the question goes to, how does Intacct enable organizations to navigate the complexities of scaling while maintaining financial control and strategic insight?
Sure, it's a long question.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that would probably combine a lot of things that were said already, but when you scale what you generally have, you're going to have more volume and probably more complexity within your organization and your needs for accounting. So the fact that Sage Intacct, for example, is a true native cloud solution, I think it helps with some of the guardrails or things that have been mentioned by my colleagues here to say that you can't just go and do what you want. You can configure, but you can't go and adjust it. So traditionally you have bespoke accounting systems, or should I say bespoke solutions put around your accounting or to make it. So as you're growing, to deal with that complexity of volume, you would add on extra things around your accounting system. And it's things that we've alluded to in terms of consolidations. When you were small, it was easy, you consolidated. As you get bigger and there's multi-currencies, it no longer becomes feasible. You have to add on a system above it. And I think this is where Intacct sets it apart, that it's able to seamlessly cope with that scale. So with that scale comes, like I say, the complexity and the volume, both of which Intacct can cope with. When you come to the complexity side, there's a lot of, as we mentioned earlier with the AI and things that are built into Sage Intacct, whether it's the contracts that I mentioned earlier, whether it's lease accounting this or complex IFRS 17, IFRS 15, there's certain things that are built within the software to facilitate that growth in your business and to handle that. And then obviously in the world we live in, it's all API driven. So being a true native cloud, in the cloud, the API layer is very strong. As was mentioned earlier, you've got a marketplace plugs into this. So I think that from a scalability perspective, they're giving you all the tools to scale. They're giving you the ability to add on as well as you go. So the modularization in terms of choosing, and as you're growing, letting the system grow with you. And I know from my side, when I see those, sometimes it's a bit daunting. I'm seeing new releases on Intacct, that are coming out all the time. Very specialized modules. I think one of them was the real estate one that's coming up. And it was fascinating to see that on its own was a module that you would have had to buy another system to do that. So when you scale, I think you want to avoid having more systems. And what Intacct is, with these guardrails, being in the cloud, being native to the cloud, is facilitating that growth without you having to add on extra systems. They're giving you the ability to adding on modules, adding on things, so you're not left with these bespoke solutions that are then on top or by the side of your accounting solution to try and make it work. And that's the end where it breaks. We've been involved in numerous companies where they've grown to that level, and it gets so complex, it's really difficult. And I think the one system versus 10 systems definitely helps, and you can see that's the way Intacct is as they're growing or building it. They're building more things to facilitate that everything can be done in that. I know that the statistical data, for example, is another thing that has revolutionized some of our clients. So when you're growing, to the point about the reporting, what do a lot of accounting systems have? They have another reporting system built on to now do reports and do these things. You're now having that built into the system. So you end up reconciling your accounting system to your MI system to your consolidation system. Oh goodness, it can get pretty complicated as you get big. And we've seen with our clients that have scaled that most of those have been catered for, and the client's scalability and profitability is definitely increased, and it's giving them an ability to the point earlier of their job is a little bit different though. You now have the power of the data to do that. I know my CFO, when we were on the previous system, I would ask him, we'd look in our Exco meeting, you sit down, you'd say, okay, what's this variance? He would, say to me, Carl, look, to your point earlier, it's like, I'll get back to you 2 weeks later, we'll look at it. Now it's like the other way around. I sit in the meetings and he's prompting me just because he's so excited. He's like, Carl, I bet you're wondering what that variance is. And I'm like, no, I'm not really. He's like, no, look, Carl, let me show you. So I think you need to look at this. It's important. And he's clicking on it, opening it. And I think that drill down ability and the dashboards and the scalability, especially when you grow and there's more data in that, to have a dashboard that you have the ability to just click on it and have that granular data. I mean, he took me down. Look, I mean, to your AP automation and all this. He took me down to the actual document. So you went not only to the journal, he actually brought up the document. He said to me, Carl, look, you actually signed that. Okay, that was my mistake maybe. But I'd signed it, and he's like, look, Carl, it's your document, you signed it, this is where it is. So I said, no, granted. So yeah, I think when it comes to scalability, it's one of the most exciting things that Sage Intacct is offering the market. I think the complexity or the thing is that most clients, it takes a long time for them to grasp what kind of power Intacct does give them with the AI, with the abilities. They're so used to working with legacy accounting systems which don't have this kind of functionalities that they kind of don't know what they don't know, and they're carrying on the same road. So yeah, that would sum it up for me on the scalability side.
Yeah, I love it. I was just looking after resources, so I really love your answer. It was brilliant. Wessel, you're going to close it out for us. If your mic still works.
I hope so. Let's try.
There you go. So, what key strategies can the accounting and finance profession adopt to remain relevant amid rapid changes, whilst also addressing skills gaps and amplifying the impact of qualified professionals? Should I repeat that question?
Wow.
I think I've got it.
Maybe break it up into
We'll have shorter questions next time. But I mean, yeah, I think there's this big transition from finance being a cost center in a company to really being a value driver in the company. You guys have all alluded to it, that it's not anymore where we ask, okay, but what is this number? And then you come back 2 weeks later. Now finance is driving the conversation. Finance is saying, guys, but because this is happening, we need to do that. Or guys, this has happened now for 3 months. We need to start looking at that. And we're picking up these trends and driving, right? So it's really this big shift from, like I say, being a cost center in your company to becoming a value center in your company. Companies need to start looking at you, that you're doing so well and adding so much value to the company that they're like, yes, we want more of you. Here's more budget, spend more, because they can really see the value, right? And getting that whole switch around. To be able to do that, though, you need to embrace technology. And I mean, when we study accounting and finance, you learn about debits and credits and so on, but it's very important to upskill yourself technically on the technology available, right? You're not going to become a value-driving department if you're not embracing the technology that's around there. So, I mean, with Sage, there's a lot of training that you can do online. There's a lot of training that you can do. Upskill yourself on the technology. I'm very passionate about it, but I really think that's the best thing a finance person can do. We all know the debits and the credits, but know technology. The better you use technology, the more value you're going to add. And then also to deliver those insights, just showing pretty graphs and pretty pictures. I mean, I love numbers, but I realize the rest of the company wants to see different things. But upskill yourself in those soft skills as well. Know storytelling. Make the numbers come alive. Make it understandable to everybody else that they get excited about it as well. Learn to communicate properly. I mean, I studied accounting. I don't think communication is my strongest point, but like the better you can communicate, the more valuable you're going to be seen in the company as well. So upskill yourself on technology and learn your soft skills, and then you'll be irreplaceable.
With Intacct, the numbers talk for themselves.
Yeah.
So the last question, they've got an eloquent way of phrasing it, but I'm just going to ask it straight. Should we be scared as accountants?
So, I mean, thanks for the short question. But I attended a conference earlier this year, and they also said, it was quite interesting, the biggest risk around AI is not embracing AI. I think that's the worst thing you can do, is try and avoid it, try and stay away from it. The best thing you can do is embrace it, understand it, see how you can make it part of you, right? To kind of link up to what the chairman said this morning in his session as well, is you decide your future, right? If you think AI is going to replace you, I promise you it will, but it's only going to be applicable to you, not to the profession, right? Look, I think this is an age-old question that's been asked many times of accountants. It's a little bit before my time, to be honest, but apparently when calculators came out, accountants thought, okay, that's the end of accounting. And now you can't live without a calculator, right? Then computers came, and everybody freaked out again. Then they put Microsoft Excel on computers, and everybody's like, well, that's probably the end. I mean, I can't live without Excel anymore. So it's really about embracing it, right? Don't be scared of this. Don't think it's going to replace you. Embrace it. It's going to become your best friend. And then you're going to move up the value chain. Like I say, you're going to sit in front of those board meetings. You're going to drive the conversation because AI and technology is helping you get there. Don't let it replace you. Yeah, let it help you get to the top.
Thank you so much. Gents, thank you so much. Audience, thank you so much. It was great. Any questions, Chris?
We do have one.
Okay.
If you want to
We
take
don't have
that
earphones on, I can't hear the question.
on. Yeah, I think for those of you without the headphones on, if you put it on, you can hear me. But Edward can hear me, so put your headphones on.
So we can hear.
I don't know. Where's the
So I think, Edward, you can either take this or you can just direct it to somebody on the stage.
To call.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have. Oh, yeah. Okay, go for it. It's a very interesting question, that. So
Yeah. So what's your response there, Cole?
it's very interesting. You should say that.
So, at what point in a company's growth cycle would Sage Intacct be appropriate for them? What is the? Are we too small? Are we too big? Are we like where would you normally say it's a good fit? It's a two-part question. I'll get to the second part in a second.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Guess I'm going to take this off and answer it.
Okay.
I think if you're talking about what stage it is, I mean, we've implemented from quite small organizations to quite big. So talking about the scalability aspect of it, it's really proven that it can go into quite small entities and to large entities. So I do think it is feasible. Obviously, if you're a one-man show, there is a certain cost that they have to serve being on the cloud, and there is a certain entry point to the product. But to be honest, we have managed to sell it to quite small clients and scale with them.
Netesh? You agree?
I totally agree. So I can't speak with this. I totally agree. At the end of the day, I mean, it's an interesting question. Great question, actually. It all depends on your requirements. It really, really depends on your requirements, because you can be a small company versus a big company, but that small company could actually have complex requirement versus a massive enterprise that actually just requires simple accounting. It all depends on the requirements, but how we look at it is that if you are ready for digitization, Sage Intacct's the answer.
Amazing. I love the "it depends" answer. It's like that's the go-to accounting. So,
Honesty.
and then if a company is considering adopting Sage Intacct, but with the nature of accounting systems and supporting systems, and I know you guys mentioned some of these things like the reporting around it, the ERPs, maybe there's a CRM attached to it. It's a complicated surgery, and I think most CFOs and FMs would look at that and they go, yes, my accounting system is painful, slow, and manual, but I don't want to perform heart surgery and lose the patient by replacing it with something else that might not fit in as well. What would your response be to such an objection?
So I'm going to leave Wessel to this one, because doing X-ray, they're used to heart surgery. Open heart surgery.
So I get this thing now. I mean, to Carl's point, which I loved so much as well, is Intacct is super scalable, which is great, right? Like, we've had so many clients where, exactly like Chris also said, like, it's a terrible system, but change is much harder than using the terrible system, right? And as much as we've got on our side Sage 300, Sage Intacct, and X3, even if it's the same client moving between those systems, like, it's hard, right? Like, we've got very technical, competent consultants and developers, so that's not the hard part. The hard part is change, right? But I mean, what I love about Netesh as well is, and what I've really learned, is like, digital transformation isn't just plugging in a new system. We've seen it so many times with clients as well. you sell them the system, they think, yes, it's going to change the world, it's going to cut our month end in half, and it's going to be great. You give it to them, and everybody complains, like, they don't like it, they don't know how it works, it's not fun. So you can't just change your system and expect magic. You need to re-engineer your business processes as well. There's a lot of magic and value that can be added when you use technology in the right way. But if you use a new system like you used the old system, it is going to be hard and painful because the new system is not the old system, right? So when you get a new system, you need to realize there's big transformation, there's a lot of value, but you need to get your people to realize there's change and there's big transformation coming. You need to change your processes and get that up and running, and then there's the system. And if you put all of that together, then you're going to get a lot of people buying in and saying, wow, this thing is 10 times better than what we've had before. But you can't just change one of those elements and hope for the best. You've really got to change the people, the processes, and your technology. Otherwise, it is going to be very painful, and open heart surgery is not nice.
And get their buy-in.
Yeah.
We do have one last slightly technical question. We have about 2 minutes left. It feels like this one is suitable for Netesh. Feel free if you disagree. With the AI incorporation into Intact, how do you guys control for potential hallucinations in something that is as precise as finance? Touch your mic.
My mic stopped working. I think AI, I think it comes with the trust element. I think that's, the trust element is a very important point here. Yeah, I think earlier on I mentioned things like ethical AI, practicing ethical AI. If you're ready for transformation, digital transformation, I think, I'm trying to answer this in a sense that actually will make more sense to the actual question. But I think if you start understanding the benefits of digital transformation, your journey with AI will be much better, or will go much smoother at the end of the day. And coming back to the whole trust thing, you need to trust it in the right way, so that you use it also in a very ethical way. You won't get hallucinations.
Awesome. Cool. So I think that covers it.
Thank you so much.
From you, Edward?
No, just thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate. Thank you, panel.
Cool.
All good.
Thank you very much.
Cole, Netesh and Wessel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.